So I wanted to just talk about just, what your opinion is on why the pay is, so different between NBA and WNBA players. Just, because like I said, the posts have been circulating and everybody's throwing their opinions out on social media. But I wanted to just ask you guys. I guess we'll start with Tykera. Wanted to hear, ladies first. Your opinion about the whole situation.
But that's kind of biased because it's ladies first, but she the expert. All the rest of us just gonna be sitting here.
Right. I want to get educated. I need to get educated though.
It's funny because I personally wouldn't even say that I am the expert number wise, because the discrepancy is still so large. Although viewership in the WNBA finals and viewership period for the WNBA was up 68% this year as opposed to last year, and I still don't understand or have all the facts on why they are compensated less. So the highest paid player in the WNBA still makes less money than a bench player in the NBA who logs like no minutes type of thing. And with this new CBA, they did discuss compensation and just getting paid more, accommodations like having their own rooms on the road and not having to share rooms with other women. They were trying to speak on the things like not flying commercial and chartered flights. All that goes into it, and it simply really still just comes down to that they are men and women, and it's hard to say that that's the answer to it, but it really is. They're underneath the same company because the WNBA is owned by the NBA. People can argue that they don't get as many fans. They can talk about the viewership and all those other things go into it, and that's why their pay is lower. They have a much, much shorter season than the NBA, where the women only play. So when I was working for the New York Liberty, I think it was 3 months long, and it's in the summertime. And people talk about the summertime viewership when they typically play. People aren't around to watch these games and stuff like that. So, which is another factor into it. If your season starts in May and ends May, June, July, like near the end of July, that's when people are traveling and out and doing things. So that's another factor where they say that goes into why these women aren't paid as much, because they're not getting the love that they need by the ticket sales and stuff like that, because they're crossing over with the summer months and they're crossing over with MLB typically and things like that. And so I'm kind of with you guys with still understanding, but those are the things that I know are huge factors that go into the pay discrepancy. Really is their fans. They don't get the greatest turnout at games, except for when it comes to finals and stuff like that. Like when I was working for the New York Liberty, you can go into the games and you could get tickets like same day of, whereas opposed to, if you was going to go see, I could even say like the Lakers and, the 76ers, not even like the Clippers or something like that. It's going to be like a full house, hard to get tickets that are at a much lower price for these games too. So I think it comes back to, like I said, their women ticket sales aren't the greatest, and that goes into their overall pay. And their roster sizes are smaller as well, so they don't get paid as much.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, I don't think that the organizations and the franchises want to underpay these women.
No.
I think, like you said, it's just they don't have the resources or the funds available to pay these women. And that's where, I
don't think that is necessarily true, just because it goes back to the fact that they are owned by the NBA. There's always funds and stuff. Are we going to invest in these women with it? And right. That's the thing, the buy-in to get them paid more in that investment piece, because these women are getting paid thousands compared to the NBA where it's millions. Like they're millionaires, these women are thousandaires. And that is a huge discrepancy. And, like I said, I personally work for the company, and if Adam Silver says that he can pay all his employees an $1,000 bonus for doing well for the season, in which he did, we got an extra $1,000 in our paycheck. That means that there's money out there that's not being invested to somewhere, because the NBA is huge and all its entities, and the NBA global partnerships and stuff like that. Like, it's bigger than just the offices that are in New Jersey and in New York. And so I think it's the buy-in and the bigger investment.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think they have the
they don't
better to have them play like you said.
I think we need to. Yeah, I think we need to look at a couple of factors, and if we look at economics, to downplay the capacity and the viewership, not the viewership, the people that's coming to the games and in the venues. One, they need to open up more venues like they do have in DC now. Put them in smaller venues. You can pack the house more, where you got less than 10,000 fans capability. But a A and a B part of that is a lot of the ticket sales don't go to cover player salaries. Those are covering like the minor things like parking and some different things, and paying some of the workers that's around or whatever. That's not covering player salary. So I'm going back to the investments that the NBA teams that own the teams in that city, that they're under that one, don't invest in the women as much as they do, because a lot of things that all of us know, all of you guys know, and especially Ty being in there, but all of you guys know from Economics 101, is they don't invest in that. And then, because the money is there. If you're under a parent company that has the money is there, that you just have to funnel and invest in that, because your money is coming from TV contracts. So if you got the same TV contract, they might not be worth the billions of dollars for the NBA, but they're worth the millions of dollars. You don't have the revenue sharing, and you don't have the promotion that they have. And sure, we've been crippled with the fact that these ladies play in the summer months or whatever, but we're 10, 12 years in, almost 20, I think now. Probably 20.
They're coming
we
up
need
on
to be doing a better job. Yeah, we need to be doing a much better job with equaling out the pay. But I think that because we fall back on that, it's a 4-month season as opposed to an 8-month or a 9-month for the NBA, that we just tolerate it. That this is the way it's going to be. You're going to get a 4-month share.
Yeah, and another reason for the toleration is knowing that these women, after their season is over, they're going straight overseas anyway, where they're getting the bulk of their money, because they have to go overseas.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they got.
But they shouldn't.
They go overseas. They get paid way more money overseas, and that's really what they're surviving off of. Because you think, and I'm just gonna read the Sue Bird and LeBron stats. So. Sue Bird's salary was $215,000 compared to LeBron's $37.44 million. And Sue Bird has been in the league for 17 years as well. Yeah, what was you about to say?
They both got a bonus, right?
Yeah, they both get a bonus, but I'm
saying for winning the finals.
Yes.
Yeah, but that bonus ain't equal.
It ain't as pretty.
It ain't equal.
Yeah.
I know. I was just saying.
And granted, Sue Bird is a veteran, so she's at the point in her, she's at the top of her game. She doesn't have to play overseas anymore. Like it's just not a thing for her.
But still, though, 200 and what?
15.
215.
LeBron makes that in a game.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is a high.
I don't get it.
That is the top of the league type of numbers. Her 215,000.
That's not even base.
Yeah, that's not a Tasha Cloud. No.
Forget economic.
He might make like $75K.
Yeah.
Forget the economic part. Let's just talk about like the game. These WNBA, like I watch the WNBA, and what I love about them, I mean, it's genetics, because men are like more physically empowering and they can do more athletic things. But we talk about the game of basketball.
The skill is
because one day I want to coach kids. I want them to watch the WNBA players, because when your athleticism is gone, you got your mind and your skill to lean off of.
Mm-hmm.
And like some of these NBA players, they're garbage without the athleticism. But WNBA players, they're all around good. So I think you need to pay them based on like they're professionals. I don't believe that there's at least one millionaire WNBA player. Like, come on, I don't like that. Like, I just don't get it because they're so good at what they do.
If you go off of not basketball, but you go off of like net pay, a lot of them have to get endorsements. Like Skylar Diggins-Smith, I think her endorsement was like Neutrogena. So, you know, she got to keep her face pretty because if she gets scratch on her face, you know, that's taken into some of her money from elsewhere. So they have to worry about the things that go on outside of basketball so much more and then show up and do their job on the basketball court. Candace Parker, she probably makes more money calling games on TNT than she does.
That makes no sense.
With Turner.
That makes no sense.
And, you know, she was calling games from the WNBA bubble, you know, being on with Kenny and all of them. So,
that makes no sense.
It's not fair, but you know, it shows how much more I particularly feel like they have to balance where they can't just focus on their job of just putting the basketball in the net. They have to think about like where is the next paycheck going to come from for these next few months when your season is only, 3 to 4 months long.
I got Candace Parker beating Jared Dudley in 1-on-1.
Hey, I got Candace Parker.
Come on, I'm like, and Jared Dudley makes $2 million sitting on the bench. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why these WNBA players, they are nice. They are nice, and they don't get paid for it. Y'all can give them $200,000. Diane Taurasi, really?
Yeah,
I mean, Sue Bird. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
The buy-in is just not there.
Okay.
And their finals are shorted. Their first 2 games of finals are single elimination. And then
which should not be. Should not be.
Shouldn't be. I'm like,
should not be. They have the best format. Ty. I agree with the format of everybody. They're 1 through 8. It doesn't matter what conference you're in. You got 1 through 8. I don't agree with the single elimination from the start. You should at least have 3, 5, 7. I don't agree with the single elimination right now. You could do the single elimination the first round if you want to do that. You know, the top 4 get a bye, you get the double bye, you get the single bye, and you got the bottom 4 playing each other. Okay, I get you. The first game you can do single elimination. The next ones need to be 3. You can go 1, 3, 5, 7. But you shorten them on the thing. And then Neil, we always look at it and say athleticism. These women that have athleticism. I know
that. I'm just
just don't compare so much if you're comparing them. But you got Liz Cambage that can dunk flat-footed.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about, like, I'm going to be real with you. Like, some of the NBA players, I think they're more skilled than Zion Williamson. Because Zion is just a jumping down athletic dude. He don't have no skill. But I'm just like, if you tell him, all right, Zion, you can't dunk a player 1-on-1, though. I got him beating him.
Yeah.
I think, I just have an appreciation for the women's game so much more because I literally, when you watch a WNBA game, they're going harder than I feel as though the NBA players do from the jump because they know their season shorter, because they know every game really does count because when you make it to playoffs, it's the first 2 rounds are single eliminations, then the top 2 teams get double buys. So you have more of an appreciation for their passion and knowing that, like, everything really counts every single night, and that's why they go so hard.
But you know what I hate? Yeah. You know what I hate, though, and I've noticed? There's some people I know personally that don't like the WNBA because of whatever reason, but their favorite player is Kobe Bryant, and they want to praise what Kobe Bryant stand for, but what the Kobe Bryant stand for was women's basketball. So I'm like, you can't – I don't understand. How can you not like WNBA for whatever reason, but your favorite player be Kobe Bryant, and you want to believe everything but he believed in praising women's basketball, and he coached women's, but you don't support – I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
That just gets on my nerves. That grinds my gears.
It goes back. It starts at the top down. The big people with the money in the NBA have to make the initiative to, spread the wealth. Like you said, they're going into their 25th season.
Didn't Kyrie Irving give some money to them? Didn't some players give some money to WNBA?
Yeah.
Kyrie did.
Avery Bradley did.
Avery Bradley.
Kyrie Irving did. But this was the first year that a lot of, because we had the bubble and had the wobble, that this was the first year that a lot of everything was, we enjoyed it as fans because we had hoops every other day.
Right.
So we in June. I mean, we're in August. We can watch the ladies on Monday, then we got the fellows on Tuesday, and then we coming back. It was an every other thing. So we lived in sports heaven that we were able to enjoy it, and a lot of fans were able to enjoy the game, because a lot of people now are talking about Brown and Stewart when everybody on this platform right here have already been watching Stewie. We already knew Stewie was a problem, but now everybody's saying, well, she can ball. No, she could ball way back when she was in AAU before she got to Connecticut. So, but a lot of people with the a lot of things have now come to light and come to the forefront that people are starting to see the different disparities. But like we've all have said, they've been there for years. We're moving up on 25 years. There's always been a pay discrepancy. Now they can say that the WNBA doesn't bring in that much money. There's the NBA. Yeah, we could say that, but there's no reason that even with a 4-month season that their salaries cannot be there's no reason that your salary cap cannot be half of what the NBA's is. So, and if your salary cap is half and you have a collective bargaining agreement such as the NBA, where the owners have to spend 60% on salaries outside of your TV contracts and your shared revenue, if that is the rule, then your salaries will raise up. But if you continue to have this rule that you just got these low salaries, you making the most out of the situation that you can, and you walking away, you're going to have veterans that's 10 years plus, like Sue Bird, that's making the 215. But we're not talking about the players that's in their first and second year, or the T-Hawks that y'all went to school with at Riverdale, that's making like 75 to less than $100,000 a year. Everybody has to go overseas. I think
Sue Bird is like the highest. What's the? Is it like $50,000 a year?
The base salary it increased this year to $75,000. So they had a new deal that they worked out or whatever, the new CBA. But before that, the WNBA salary was $71,000. And then the maximum veteran salary is $113,000. Yeah.
So they hooping for $30 an hour like a regular job?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That is so crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That lets you know that the love of the game, because a lot of them the majority of them, I would say 75% play overseas, and that
or they have a side hustle. Yeah.
Right.
If you get
doubles,
Yeah,
that doubles or triples their annual salary that they get in the WNBA. So basically, they're playing for us over here for the love of the game, because they want to play here. They're not playing for their financial freedom or because they have to. No, they're playing for the love of the game.
I commend them.
Right.
Look, y'all gotta pay me.
So
all that traveling you gotta do. What you got? It's only 3 months. You gonna compensate me? If I was a WNBA player, you gotta give me at least $500,000.
Yeah, but you touched on it, Neil. All that travel that you have to do. But remember this though, they're doing this travel on commercial airlines. You can buy a ticket and be sitting next to Sue Bird. You're not buying a ticket sitting next to LeBron James. You standing in the same ticket line with. Yes. You sitting in the same line with Sue Bird.
No. I'm writing them a letter.
I got Adam Silver's number. I got Adam Silver's number if you need it.
Adam Silver send me an email talking about, we appreciate you being an NBA supporter. No, I'm writing the email back.
Go straight to John.
I'm writing him. Hey, hate him, man. Ain't no way in the world.
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Way. I didn't know that.
But we laugh, and because it's brought to light, we laugh at it because it's brought to light. However, we need more people to write these letters and talk to people. It needs to be brought to the forefront that you could be in the same Reagan National with some WNBA players. You not nowhere near an NBA player. They not
like the Mystics. They ride the train when they go to play the New York Liberty. They ride the train.
See?
That's wild.
Amtrak. Yeah.
That is wild. Like they don't even get treated like professionals, and the fact that they got to get 2 jobs just to maintain, financials, like because their job that everybody tells them is what they want to work up to, WNBA, but they don't pay as much as they do overseas. And the fact that they even got to travel overseas, probably got to learn new languages, everything, it's crazy just to meet their financial needs. Like that's
Right.
wild.
And then you have some of the ones that have children, like you can look at Danica Hamby that was down in the Wubble that bought her daughter. She bought her mom. Her per diem did not increase for the time her mom was there. She may have gotten a bigger room out of her pocket, but nothing else increased that she got that can help her bring her mom to help with her kid.
I'm just saying, Sue Bird can be Kyle Kuzma right now.
Yeah,
I'm just like, but for real though, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I didn't know that. I thought they made like at least like 300, 400K. I did not know it was 200. That's sick.
And see, this is why I had Tykera, join us, because I wanted her insight on this. Because like you said, Neil, I learned a lot today because you think certain things about the WNBA.
I thought they made millions of dollars. I really did.
Right. No, I knew they didn't get millions of dollars, but there's certain things that I didn't know. Like the Mystics have to, well, not have to, but they take the train up to New York, and they fly commercial, and the average salary is $71,000. I know people who are making 71 or around that, just doing a regular 9 to 5, and that's crazy. That's even comparable right there, because you never would be able to say, okay, me, let's just say I'm a top architecture, and I make about $215,000 a year, just like Sue Bird. But we would never say like, oh, you should be making around LeBron James' salary, doing, contracting or.
I just feel as if you're a professional athlete and you're one of the best at what you do in a distinct sport, you should be paid like that because it's rare. Like, what's the odds of you becoming a WNBA player than you becoming, have a top job somewhere else? It's like, it's a fraternity. So like, if you're in that, you got to be compensated for it, no matter like if it's bad ratings or not. If you're a professional athlete, you're literally the cream of the crop of a sport everybody loves to play.
But it starts from grassroots. That it starts in AAU, it starts in college, all the way through that. The facilities are mediocre compared to the boys. Like if you go to Tidno, you go to a Power 5 school, you got the smaller locker room. You don't have the same things because it goes to economics. The only 2 sports that pay for themselves and pay for other programs in college are men's basketball and men's football. Those 2 sports in college pays for every sport else in college. Their budgets are made off of their revenue. Everything is made out of their revenue for those. Unless you go to UConn, because their women's basketball pays for themselves. You go to Maryland or somewhere else, they pay for themselves. But however, everybody else, men's basketball and college football, pays for everything else in the college, so they get what's left over.
At North Carolina A&T, the girls get everything. The boys get nothing.
Yeah.
That girls team is typically very good.
Yeah.
A&T is typically straight. Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's the way it is. I mean, Sacred Heart